report. Aloha and mahalo. Welcome to the Blue Note Fan Report. I am Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, and I am your host on the show that's by a fan for the fan, and you got to know about you, the fan. How are you all doing today? This is an off-day show. Don't know how many of these I'm going to be doing. We'll talk about that later. But today, I actually have a special guest. I have a New Jersey Devils fan. Wanted to come on the show yesterday, but he ended up going to the game. Well, since he went to the game, we were not able to bring him on. Well, guys, Ashley's not going to be on tonight. I did something that made her mad, so she's not going to come on tonight. I apologize to her, but I'll let her cool off. That's on me. It is what it is. So let me first welcome my friend, my buddy, my pal, Alessandro Motun.
What's going on?
Alessandro, how are you doing tonight?
I'm not bad, man. I'm actually on my way to the game. Can you hear the car background noise? Is it annoying or no?
No. I think we can deal with it. If
all right,
the guys think it's annoying, they'll tell me.
So, yeah, please let me know. I'm actually, like I told you, I'm on my way to my own hockey game. But yeah, I was at the game. Not so good for me. Good for you guys. So,
well, I mean, you were telling me something, and I kind of disagreed with you on this. But you were telling me that you felt the Devils controlled the game. They outplayed the Blues the entire game.
No, I wouldn't say the entire game. I think the Blues had their time cycling the puck a little bit, and I think the first period was really like that. It was maybe like it was either the Devils or the Blues jumped on, and they were just playing offense the whole time, and then like halfway through that period, it kind of shifted over to the other team, and the Blues just capitalized on their chances. But after that, man, I think it was, I don't know, man. I'm not sure of the stats, but I'm pretty sure the Devils outshot them, and they outshot them by a lot.
Well, they outshot them 39-19.
Yeah, so that's 20 more shots. I mean,
sorry, I didn't mean to walk over you. But see, you can't just look at shots and say that you were out controlled. I mean, you look at the game. First of all, I was able to watch a good part of the first period again yesterday, and you look at when Kyrou scores that goal.
That was a great goal.
You just seen how the confidence in the Blues was there, and even after Hughes got a second one in the second, right at the 8:47 mark. It was still, you never saw the Blues lose that confidence. It never felt like, the Blues are out of this, that,
No, by no means that. But I think when the Devils tied it up is when it really kind of shifted more to the Devils' momentum. I mean, given you scored a big goal at home. I think Jack Hughes scored the first two, so normally fans go pretty crazy when Hughes is the guy to put it in the back of the net. But, and I don't know. I mean, I will say Binnington, he was standing on his head a lot of that game. And I got to give him a lot of credit because I know he's got a lot of flack throughout the year. And that guy made every timely save you could have asked him to. The Devils' goaltending did not. I mean, not that the Blues' chances. I mean, they had great chances. Those first two Blues goals they were great. I mean, you had that tip in that couldn't have been a better pass. You know what I mean? That was maybe the first goal, and then you had that Barbashev goal. I think that was after, and that was a total snipe. I mean, absolute rocket, dude, just sniped him. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Devils had poor goaltending in that game. And the Blues definitely showed up to play. So. Oh yeah.
I will say that. You got to remember, I missed most of the second period, our first and second period, because I was in the air yesterday. I was able to catch the third. What I saw, at least from my point of view, is I saw a team from the Blues standpoint that never felt like they didn't belong in that game, where a lot of people didn't feel like the Blues, a lot of people are calling the Blues a bottom feeder this year, and I don't think they are.
Not. Absolutely not. I think it's more embarrassing to say for the Devils because when you outshot your opponent like that, I mean, you're supposed to, and you always expect a team that shoots the puck 20 more times on net to win the game. I mean, if they have 20 more shots, so you always expect that. But I mean, the Blues are a way more experienced team at the same time. I know there's a lot of guys that are out, I mean, and imagine that. Imagine if you guys had your stars. God only knows how bad it would have been for New Jersey because it probably would have been 6-3 the final score or 7-3.
One of the guys,
O'Reilly and Tarasenko. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we were missing Tarasenko, O'Reilly, and Krug are the three big ones we're missing.
Yeah, that's huge. Those are like 3 of your best players. And they all have super experience, which is what the Devils don't have. They don't have strength.
One of my fans, Jason Nichols, says, tell him the announcers were saying that your goalie looked uncomfortable.
He looked like he couldn't stop a beach ball, brother. That's what he looked like. And I mean, he is like an AHL goalie, but he's very young, and I think he is one of the best AHL goalies, and he's had some really, really good games in the NHL. So he is a good goaltender. I think maybe he just caught a little bit of an off game. I mean, I don't know. Especially when you're that young, I guess it's kind of hard for guys like that when they're goalies coming in the league and they're like 21 years old. But, I think Blackwood was originally supposed to play. Supposedly, he took a shot to the hands in practice, so they held him out. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if it was like something like that or an illness. I thought maybe they said it might have been an illness.
I thought it was originally Blackwood, who was supposed to play.
Yeah.
And supposedly he took a shot to the hand. I don't know. I must have hit him where his padding wasn't, so they held him out and played. They called up Schmidt from the AHL because Schmidt looked good in the beginning of the season when he was playing for us and when Blackwood was out for a while. So, I mean, I actually had faith that he was going to play very well. It didn't look like he belonged to be on the ice with those fellas. And as far as the Blues, you said, with the confidence, that team, I don't think that team. I mean, I don't know. I don't watch every Blues game. I do tune into your show, so a lot of times when I do tune into your show, I will put on the Blues game. And I just think the Blues team, regardless of where they are in the standings, it's still a tough team, and they're really not that far out of like a wild card spot, right? Are they below wild card?
They're three. The last I looked, I think they were 3 points out of the wild card.
Yeah, 3 points. That's a game and a half. That's not even 2 games.
Yeah.
And you're looking at a team that's like been there, done that before. Most of them have that Stanley Cup under their belt. They're all experienced. There's no way they're losing confidence against anybody they play. I just feel that because you got guys that, they've been doing this. They're comfortable. When they're down 2, they're not scared. When you get guys like that that've been in the league for a long time, or maybe not a long time, but decent amount of time.
Let's see here. The Blues are sitting 4th outside of the wild card. They have 41 points. Calgary is at 43. Right?
Oh, so
we're tied with Colorado, but Colorado's got 2 games in hand on us. So
so you're really in a great place. I mean,
we're not in a bad spot. We're not in a bad of a spot as everybody thinks we are. All right, you still with me, bud? Hey, can you still hear me? We might have lost Alessandro there for a second. I'll give him a moment to try and pop back in. Lance Scott from the Drop is going to join us. One of the things that stuck out to me, there were 2 stats that now you can sit there and point to the shots and go, oh my goodness, you outshot him by 20 shots. Yeah, but here's the thing that really stood out. First of all, I don't have the full stats because for some reason NHL media site's not working right now. The Blues had 21 blocks. 21 blocks. That's on top of 39 shots. right? I think they took close to 70 attempts. The Devils had nine blocks, right? So the Blues shots, they were taking what I think is just better shots. And because they took better shots, they were able to really take control of the game. And I think that has a lot to do with what happened in that game. Are you still with me there, Alessandro? Can you hear me, bud? Okay, I'm gonna pull him out for a little bit and see if he pops back up. How you doing tonight, Lance?
Not too bad. How are you?
Not bad. I'm doing okay, man. I'm doing okay. Chris Shockey says we usually make rookie goalies look like superstars, and that's a truth. We normally we do, but I just felt last night, and I've got to see bits and pieces. I didn't get to see re-see everything, and I'm still trying to. Used to be able, the way NHL.com was, NHL.tv is I could go back like 10 years and still watch games. Well, now that they took it away, you can't do that. So it makes it really changes how things are. I don't know why they let ESPN do that. I think they still should have kept it on NHL.tv. But that's just me. What were your impressions of last night, bud?
Bennington saved them. Like you said, they had all them attempts, and I'm not necessarily going to say the Devils didn't have as good a shots as the Blues had, because a lot of those blocks would have been right on net if the Blues hadn't blocked them. So way too much time spent in the offensive zone by the Devils. The Blues allowed them way too many opportunities, 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shots, sometimes even 4 shots. And I think they're pretty fortunate, and if they didn't buy donuts and coffee for Bennington this morning, they definitely should have.
Well, the other thing, one of the stats that leaped out to me was in that first power play, they had 6 shots. The Devils had 6 shots on that first power play. That's wow. How do you allow 6 shots on a power play?
That's a lot.
But see, here's the thing. Right now, you've got a young team that is transitioning away from the bread and butter of what everyone thought the Blues were. And I think that has their transitioning and trying to find their own game. Defensively, you might find some lapses like that. And I'll be okay with those lapses if the offense starts doing what it's supposed to do. Because I say this in the NHL, and I say it all the time. The best defense in the NHL is a good offense. If you have a good offense, you're going to create better defense. And we kind of saw that with Toronto, the Toronto game, right? I mean, unfortunately, we got that 2-goal lead, which we suck at, and it was scaring me with this one. Are you still with me there? Are you back with me there, Alessandro?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We couldn't earlier, so I had to take you out for a little bit.
It might have just been the spot that I was driving through.
No problem.
I'm on board. I've been listening.
Okay, so there's 2 stats that stuck out to me from that game. I know you mentioned the shots, and I don't look at shots as much as I do other things. One of the things that I really looked at was, first of all, was blocks. The Blues had 21 blocks to the 9 for the Devils.
Yeah,
right?
That's big.
That's a huge. Now that just means the Devils were firing the puck left, right, and center, and that's fine. But there was a clogging of the middle that was happening.
Yeah, right? But I mean, the Devils also had 20 more shots. So if St. Louis would have shot the puck 20 more times, then what would you say? Then New Jersey might have had 18 blocks. Then that's pretty close. I mean,
Possible.
I don't know what the final.
Possible.
You know what I mean? So.
We might be doing it. Alessandro's not watching TV.
Selection.
Oh, go ahead, bud.
No, I'm driving.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it did have to do with the shot selection of New Jersey. I don't think every shot was a great shot. I'm sure a lot of those block shots were. Can't recall every single one. But you have to give credit to Jordan Binnington as well, because I think that man is owed a lot more than just donuts and coffee. That guy he better went to a steakhouse somewhere in Jersey and got a lobster tailed steak on the boys after that one. I mean, Especially, I mean, whatever, he might have let in a few goals, whatever, but every save that he made, they were all very timely, which is what you expect out of a good goalie. You don't expect the goalie to save everything, but when you make timely saves like that, you know what I mean? That's what you expect a clutch goalie to do. And you're looking at a guy like that who's won a Stanley Cup doing that same exact thing, and that's what the Devils ran into. Got the best of them, I think, honestly. But,
I'm trying to catch up to some of my comments here. Let's see here. No, the other night, North Carolina had 67 shots and lost.
Yeah,
right?
I did. Dude, that is wild. That is wild. UC Staros, man.
Right? Yeah, Bennington was the best player the other night. Lance, Matlow says he wasn't calling you out. Just every time I said something about Neighbors or Kyrie, you were like, Blues fans want them to be McDavid. I didn't hear all of that because I was probably out a little bit. Oops, I lost him for a second.
Well, what I was saying was in the past, this management has hyped these guys up so much, like Perron, Oshie, Berglund, Eric Johnson, their number one pick that they took that year. The front office hyped these guys up so much where people thought they were all going to be superstars in this league. And they can't all be. I mean, Jake Neighbors, Bolduc, and Snuggerud are not all going to be superstars in this league. Some of them are going to be third-line players.
Yeah.
They just are. And I wasn't saying anything bad against Kyrie or Thomas. I wasn't. Kyrie and Thomas right now deserve to be on the first or second lines. They do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything bad about them. What I was talking about was that a lot of times, I was talking about the past, plus a lot of times Blues fans want these young kids to be Alex Steen defensively. Right off the bat, they want them to be Alex Steen and be two-way players. And when they score a lot but still make mistakes in the defensive zone, some Blues fans are taking credit away from them for their offensive prowess, and that's all I was basically saying.
Yeah, that's sacrilegious. Goalies are supposed to have 100% save percentage.
That's what people think, buddy. That's what some people think.
When it comes to Blues fans, and I think Blues fans just in hockey for Blues fans expect the Blues to go 82-0-0 with a 0.0 goals against average.
It didn't used to be that way. That has happened in the last 6 to 7 years because when I first started my podcast, there wasn't as many people that are that way. And the thing about it is people forget something. Every Blues player is played to play his role and to help the Blues win the game. Well, you got to remember, guys, every 23 guys on that other roster that are suited up, they are paid to score goals and to stop stuff and to block shots. They're paid just as much as the Blues player are. So they're all good players. I've gotten on to some guys and called them AHL players like Rosen, which he is, and Levo. Levo's played a lot more games in the AHL than he has in the NHL. But they have a spot where they are needed in the NHL. And some guys, but if you make it to the NHL, you're a good player. It's like Grant Fuhr's always told me, if you're a goaltender in the NHL, you have the talent. The difference between the good ones, great ones, and bad ones, here and here.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, when you think about this, you think about rare jobs, right? How rare of a job something is.
Yeah.
And in all actuality, goalie is just as rare of a job as catcher is in the MLB. Yeah. Right? Each team only holds 2 catchers. Yeah.
There's 64 NHL goalies. Yep, there's 64 NHL goalies on any given roster any night throughout the NHL.
Yeah. So when you think about that, that's to get one of those 64 spots. And how many goalies are there out there?
Thousands. And you know what? There's some guys in the AHL that haven't been called up that probably, if they played in the NHL, would get a shot and be NHL goalies. But there's guys in the NHL that have no business sniffing an NHL roster that are truly AHL goalies.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Alessandro's headed to driving to a hockey game, so we
good for him
for now.
Good for him.
Yeah, no, he's going to play his hockey game. Cool. Alessandro is one of the guys I know from my fantasy league. Good guy.
Great. I wanted to tell somebody before I forget. I meant to tell you guys this last night. One of my sources in Boston said that the month and a half before O'Reilly and Tarasenko were injured, Doug Armstrong was there for 3 or 4 games watching the Bruins play. And there were 3 or 4 other nights, Scott Mellenby, who works for the Blues, was watching the Bruins play. So, I don't know. I did hear about last year that the Bruins were interested in Barbashev. Right now, I don't see how they could afford O'Reilly or Tarasenko unless the Blues pay a bunch of their salary, which we all know Doug Armstrong doesn't do that. Everybody says he's going to. Doug Armstrong will not retain salary.
Yeah. So this is the thing with the trade deadline coming up. For most teams, for a lot of teams, I'd say for close to 80%, and I haven't looked at cap friendly in a while, but I'd say for close to 80% of the teams, any trade gonna have to be dollar in, dollar out.
Yeah, I agree. There's probably about 22 to 24 teams have no cap space at all, or like 800,000 or $1 million or something.
So if you're going to get, it's going to make the trade deadline really, really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because over the years, a lot of these guys were moved for cap space. Right. And now you can't do that because you're going to have to take stuff in return that almost is going to replace what you've given up, what you've given them.
Yeah. I'm not sure, to be honest, Jason, that who would we'd be
I
looking
don't
for
know.
on Boston, or who was Boston playing. I don't know. I'd have to look at Boston to see where I know that they've got some salary cap issues coming up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a lot of teams do. And with the cap, see, the NHL I think the NHL really screwed up this year, only raising the cap $1 million.
I heard something that Bettman has told the owners to let it know that it's $1 million, but he's doing that safely, that it might be more like $1.5 million or $2 million, but he didn't want anybody putting that out in case it is just $1 million.
Yeah. I don't know. Would they get let go of Pasternak? I know he's got a contract coming up.
I have heard rumors that Boston loves him, but with his injury history, they're ready to move on from him, because after this year, they're going to move on from several of their top guys. And, I do remember a young defenseman Boston had, and I can't remember his name, that the Blues might be looking at. I'd have to look it up later.
You think they'd be looking at Coyle?
No, I don't think Boston wants to move Coyle. No, I don't think they want to move him at all. I think the most likely guy they're looking at, based on cap space, would be Barbashev. Could they get a Tarasenko or an O'Reilly? Yeah, but they're going to have to do some other moves. And I also heard that if the Blues move Tarasenko or O'Reilly, there might be a third team involved because of the cap issue.
Well, again, like I said, see, this is what I was trying to get at a little bit earlier. This trade deadline is going to be much different.
Yeah, it will be,
because it's a dollar in, dollar out dollar in, dollar out trade deadline. It's not like you're trading. I'm letting Tarasenko go and getting 5 picks, or prospects, because they don't know. Very few teams, like here, I'm looking at Boston right now, and they've got their cap space is $33,000. They've got 2.8 million in LTIR.
Yeah, so in other words, Barbashev. They could take Barbashev, and that's it.
Right. Well, see, but that's not true, because this is why what I'm trying to get at, and why this is going to be so interesting. It's going to be dollar in, dollar out. So if I want Tarasenko for $7.5 million, I have to give up $7.5 million. And if you're looking at defense, right? Let's look at defense. Connor Clifton will be a UFA next year. 2 years down the road, you have Jacob Zorel, Eric Foxbrit, and Matt Gallick. I'm terrible with names. Those guys will be UFAs. And right now, you're looking at Gallick's got a $3.6 million cap hit, and Foxbrit has got a $3 million cap hit. You go into look at now, they've got, they have the Boston. See, this is where it's going to get really interesting. Boston next season has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 UFAs in their forward core.
Yep.
These are their UFAs in their forward core. Pasternak.
Yep.
Foligno.
Yep.
Daka.
Yep.
Craig Smith. Patrice Bergeron. Thomas Noska. Chris Wagner, Trent Frederick is an RFA, and AJ Greer. Or no, David Ketchy, right?
Yeah, and I want to say one thing. I want to say one thing about Bergeron real quick.
Yeah.
We may not like him here in St. Louis, but he's a really good player, and he's a good team player, and that's the kind of people I like for the Blues. Not saying the Blues should get him. You know, he could have got $6-7 million in the open market. He could have. But you know what he's making this year, guy? $2.5 million. Is that not the best contract for somebody that can score goals like him?
Yeah, Bergeron sitting at 2.5. And, you know, I'm looking at this, and I could see him giving up. I could see Boston giving up Foligno and possibly, Foligno and possibly Bergeron, which would be close to that $7 million that they need, right? And you don't know if somebody else goes on LTIR. I got a good question here. Jose Figueres, Jose Dynamite says, I was reading somewhere that the Sharks might eat some of Erik Karlsson's salary to move on from him. Not saying I want him as a Blue, but do you think he might be involved in a move? I do, actually.
I think his days in San Jose are numbered. They're wanting to clear that huge salary out. From what I hear, they're willing to take on 60% of his salary.
50, right? That's the max.
That's right, 50. That's right, 50. Yeah. I meant 50. I was thinking 50 and said 60, but 50% of his salary. And you know what, guys? Yeah, was he a great defenseman at one time? And can he still put the puck in the net somewhat? Yes, but I wouldn't want him even at half his salary.
Right?
Yeah, he's got a big salary.
Nicholas says, I say we give Detroit Tank and ORR for Fabry and Perron. Fabry's hurt again.
Yeah, hurt again. Yep.
Right? Right after, I think he just came back.
He just came back. He's been
hurt almost every year that he's been up there.
He was hurt. He just came back, and that's why they put what's-his-face on waivers.
Yeah. Can you hear us, Alessandro?
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm sorry about that, man. It's this connection.
No issues, man.
I apologize, guys, because I love the pod. This is great, man. If I just would have knew ahead of time, I wouldn't have been on my way to hockey right now, but I'm almost there, so we're good.
Yeah. No issues, man.
Buddy, I wish you the best, and I'm glad you can still play. I had to stop playing at 42 when I had a stroke. I played it from the age of 6.5 till 42, and buddy, I miss it every year. But I'm glad you're able to go out and do that and have fun.
Dude, I mean, give it a shot. Are you all right now? Or are you still having problems?
I've got a pain syndrome on this side of my body, and my balance is off. And you can't play goalie with your balance off.
No.
Here's a good quote. So I want to get back to this because Jose brings up a really good point.
Yeah.
You know that Montgomery would be influential in letting the Bruins front office know who he would like to coach from St. Louis. So maybe they'll be going after Tarasenko as a rental, and that's a good point.
That's a good point. But again, like I said, where's the cap space coming from?
It's dollar in, dollar out.
Yeah,
right.
They would have to move Pasternak, or they'd have to move what's his face. The defenseman that you just said, I can't think of his name. Charlie Coyle. Right.
But here's this. Let's say to bring Tarasenko in at 6.5, right? Both of them are 7.5.
7.5.
Tarasenko's at 7.5. Let's say so the Blues need defense, and especially left defense, right? So you've got Galaic, and I think I'm saying that right. Matt Galicic. He's got 3.65 or 3.68, and then you throw in Foligno at 3.8. There's almost your 7.5 right there.
You don't want Foligno. Doug Armstrong ain't going to take Foligno.
What?
Doug Armstrong isn't going to take Foligno.
Yeah, I don't think you guys would go after Foligno.
Foligno's the throw-in because you have Galaic for another year after this. He's got 2 years before he's a UFA. So you're getting locked up next year too.
Foligno's not the answer, and his best days are past.
No, he is. I just feel like he would not be the answer for you guys.
You're just looking. So if you don't want Foligno, what about Pavel Zacha? Right?
That's not a bad move, dude.
That's not a bad move if they could get him.
That would be. I think Do you know what his term is? Because I think he signed a new contract with
No,
Boston.
he's not. He's a UFA next season, and he's at 3.5 this year.
That's really not bad at all. And he's
right.
he's fairly young. And I mean, he's not like a killer player, but he can really fill a middle six role pretty good, man.
Right. And then, but see, and that's what I'm trying to get at. And if the Blues are looking at left defense, and I can't pronounce his name, Galake? Matt Galake?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. It's like Gerlach almost or something like that.
But he's at 3.68, and he's got another year. So he isn't a rental, right? So you're looking at almost a 7.5 right there, or either Tarasenko or O'Reilly. But I think Boston would want Tarasenko for that sniper ability.
I personally think, from what I'm being told, the team that is leading it is the Devils, and the second are the Islanders. That's the one that's calling Armstrong the most, is the Devils.
I wouldn't be surprised, man, because the Devils are really struggling for an experience. They're really, really hungry for an experienced guy that's not winger, scoring winger, which is what Tarasenko is. That's not necessarily a power forward, but that could be strong on pucks. That's a little older, a little more mature, has more time under his belt, you know, a guy like that to play with these 21-year-olds who just are not strong on pucks like Tarasenko is. You know what I mean?
And you know what else? Even though Blues fans will say he's not and other people will say he's not, he is a team player. If you've ever heard that he's not, that's a lie. He is a team player.
Grizzly is how it's pronounced.
Of
course he is. Of course. Oh, Grizzly's a good player.
Yeah.
I think what it comes down to is like where you guys are come trade deadline. And if your general manager thinks that if it's better to sell off now or to try to acquire, you know, because they still got some time if they want to keep pushing for a playoff.
Yeah, I think that Blues fans were so ticked off that they didn't trade Backus, even though Backus helped us get to the Western Conference Championship, and then we ended up getting nothing for him. I don't think Blues fans will put up with that as much if they let Tarasenko just float and leave and Roar leave. I think they're going to have to get something for him. And if they're out of the playoffs by 8 or 10 points in February, middle of February, that's when I think something's going to happen, is the middle of February.
Yeah. No, so I do too. See, here's my thing. First of all, Jeremy Brander says, I know nothing about hockey. Thank you. I just seen that, Alessandro. Thank you, sir. No, I know you are, Jeremy. I know you are. For me, first of all, with Tarasenko has, and a lot of people don't realize right now, Tarasenko has all the power.
All the power.
Oh, yeah.
He has it all. Because he can say all day long, I'd be willing to go to those teams. They can have a trade in place.
Yep.
And he can go and they can go, okay. Armstrong can go right up to him and say, okay, Tarasenko, okay, Vladimir, we've got this deal. We'd like to send you to the Devils. Mm-hmm. He can go, you know what? Change my mind. I don't want to go there.
Yeah, he could. But I think it comes down to what he would want, because does he want to stay in St. Louis? Does he just like being in that area a lot? Or does he really want to have a better shot at a cup? I mean, you could argue that both St. Louis and New Jersey have an equal shot at the Stanley Cup. But I mean, the way that the NHL hypes things up, they've been hyping New Jersey up a lot because you got all these young guys.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Well,
but that is what the Devils are looking.
What it's going to come down to Tarasenko, and it's going to come down to make sure I count my words right. A 7-letter word. It's going to come down to family. What he wants. Right? Yeah. It's going to come down to family. His wife has a modeling career that has been, what do you call it? It's been there, but she hasn't been focused on it. But she started to focus on it. And if you're a model, and especially a beautiful Russian model,
right?
Where's going to be the best place for you?
East Coast or West Coast?
It's going to be by right. Yeah,
LA.
yeah. No, yeah, you got a point. And I will say, I know we're the New Jersey Devils. Me myself, I live about 30 minutes outside of Manhattan, about
Hmm.
15 out of Staten Island. So, and most of these players either live in New York or like a small city called Hoboken, New Jersey,
Yep,
which is like
Hoboken. Yep,
right across the river.
right across. Yep,
Really nice small city.
yep.
Really like uppity, nice small city. And a lot of these guys live there. And so it really,
Yep.
if you're into the modeling, it's really the place to
Yep.
be, dude.
Yeah, Hoboken by far is the nicest city in that state we call New Jersey.
I'd have to agree, man. There's really South Jersey is not too bad, but there's really no cities. It's all like country land.
Yeah.
But the rest of New Jersey is just the armpit of America. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, so for me, what it all comes down to with Tarasenko is what does he feel is going to be best for Tarasenko. Now, I will say this. From what I do feel, I know how the media in St. Louis treats him, right? And I get a feeling that that's not a fair. It's not a fair statement of how he feels about the city. I just remember, even now, I just remember so many times, like they asked Tarasenko, I want to say this was after the 16-17 season, or this, 17-18 season, after they missed the playoffs. And someone asked him about getting 50 goals, right? Could you score 50 goals next season? Or it might have been a year before that. And he absolutely said, I don't care about that. I only want to win a cup in St. Louis. That's all he cared about.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
Jose says, I could honestly see Tarasenko possibly accepting a move to Anaheim. That's one of the ones I see, you know. They've got a lot of young talent that's starting to mature. I could see them giving him a good paycheck to come there. I could see it.
Yeah, but guys, they're a good 3 to 4 years away from being cup contenders.
Yeah. They got some time.
Yeah,
they got a minimum of 2 years, probably more like 3 to 4 though.
Yeah,
and
but you never know.
You never know. You don't.
This is a good conversation, but I want to change the conversation a little bit. I want to talk about what the NHL did yesterday with the All-Star vote, the All-Star, right? They basically went and picked 32 players for the All-Star team, meaning one player from each team. Right? What do you think of that? And now you're going to get the vote. They're going to put 3 more players in. They're going to put 2 more forwards and 1 goalie in. What do you think about how the NHL is handling all-star voting? I have my own opinion on it. I want to ask Alessandro first.
I think it's tough. I have to say, I think I might have liked it better when it was just voting and not one player from each team. Because when I looked at the Metros team and I saw, what's that guy from the Flyers, Hayes, and I was like, this guy would never be an all-star if they didn't, have the one player minimum from every team. But I also get it because, like, if you are a Flyers fan, you want to see at least one player from your team. So I get it, but.
Well, the problem that the NHL has right now with that, and I'll get to it. I want to know what Lance thinks about this, and then I'll kind of go in what I think.
I could care less because the All-Star game is a joke.
That is true too.
This 3-on-3 crap and having other people that aren't even in the NHL there, women from women's hockey leagues doing I love the fact that women have a good game and it's fun to watch and they're very talented. But can you see MLB at their All-Star game having people from the minor leagues there or from another league? No, you don't do that. It's a joke. Gary Bettman's a joke, and he's made the owners a lot of money. If he hadn't done that since he's been here, he still wouldn't be the commissioner. That's the only reason he's still here.
I'm more of a fan of the skills competition than the actual game itself.
It's more entertaining.
I think the skills. See, for me, I think some of the skills competition has gotten fluky.
Some of it is watered down.
Some of it is watered. Yeah.
Hardest shot, fastest skater. Those are cool to watch.
Well, what they did in St. Louis with the top golf thing, right?
Yeah, that's
I don't like
that.
that.
That was I thought that was kind of entertaining actually. I kind of liked it.
But last year, what they did with the blackjack.
Yeah, that was
That was
all right.
stupid.
Yeah, that was like, yeah.
Yeah,
The Top Golf was way better.
Right. I like the fastest skater. I like
of course.
I like the accuracy one.
Yeah,
right?
accuracy too.
I like the accuracy one. I'd like to see for the goalies do more. I'd like to see goalies do a 3-on-2. I'd like to see a 3-on-2 rush, for the goalies.
That would be pretty cool.
Right? 3-on-2 rush. So the puck starts at center ice. It gets thrown out. The ref or somebody shoots it back into the defensive zone, and it comes as like a breakout 3-on-2. I'd like to see something like that.
Yeah.
And see how a goalie can stop that, because there are goalies out there that can stop breakaways, not shootouts. There's a difference between a breakaway and a shootout.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people mean by that.
Yeah.
Is that you, Alessandro? Is that you here?
Yeah.
Commenting. Okay. I'm hoping.
Oh no, I'm not commenting. I don't know.
Oh, okay. It's somebody who used your name. I know who that is now. It's one of my buddies. Hopefully, I will be moving to St. Louis in April, May. I mean, that's what I'm looking for. But what I see, and I just kind of lost my train of thought. There's a difference between a breakaway and a shootout.
Oh yeah, of course.
So
shootout, you got all the time in the world.
Like Thomas Grice cannot stop a breakaway, save his ass, right? Cannot stop a breakaway to save his ass. Where Bennington is much better at that. Well, that's what I want to see. Not a shootout, but a breakaway. I want to see a 3-on-2 and see how that happens.
Or you even just let the forward go with a guy chasing
I'd like
him.
to see that. I'd also like to see, they did one year, I think Pietrangelo won it, like a passing drill, right? Where they had to shoot the pucks over these little things in the little nets, and they timed it, and then they had to shoot them off and then score a goal, hit these little targets, these lighted targets.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right? Yeah. Again, Alessandro, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it, bud.
Yeah, it was great. I wish I knew earlier, but I mean, so I wouldn't have been in the car half the time.
No issues, man.
I'm good now. I'm parked. I'm not driving, so
yeah, no problem. No, it's no issue, bud. I appreciate it. See, here's my thing. First of all, I do like a divisional format. I like the divisional format, but I think there's more that they can do with it. I think that they've hurt themselves a little bit with it. I would like to see them take the divisional format and do the 2 10-minute like they're doing, right? But do it more of a round robin instead of a 2-game thing, right? Play 4 games. Play 4 games. Play. The Central would play the Pacific, then they play do it that way and do it over 2 days, not 1 day.
Yeah, I think it would come down to the players not wanting to do it, though, to be honest with you.
Well, you're only talking about 20 minutes of hockey.
Yeah, I know you're not. You're not talking.
That's 20 minutes more of time they could get hurt.
Yeah, I think that's where the issue would come into play there.
There's things you can do with the All-Star game to make it better.
Yeah, stop having it 3-on-3 and stop having people from everywhere.
Like the 3-on-3. I like the 3-on-3.
3-on-3. If you're a casual fan and you go to that game, you are not seeing NHL hockey. You're judging hockey on 3-on-3. So when they go to the game, and some people have told me this. I went to an All-Star game and then I went to a regular game. It's not the same game. Why did they do that? And I'm like, ask Gary Bettman and all his people in his front office under 35.
What about overtime? How many games go to overtime? 3-on-3 has become part of the game.
Yeah,
3-on-3 has become part of the game.
Look, I get why they do it. They're trying to make it more exciting. They're trying to make it more forward. Trying to give the players more room to make pretty plays, to put on a show at the All-Star game. But is it real NHL hockey? No, not really. It could be, but most of the time, no. It's 5-on-5.
Is it really, in all actuality, I get it, but how many times in a game do you have the odd man rushes or do you have the 3-on-3 rushes? How many times do you really see 5-on-5 hockey? You
All
don't
the time.
see that. No, you don't. You
Yes,
don't
you
see
do.
it until you
Most
get
of
to
the
a
time, I would
cycle.
say.
Till you get to a cycle.
Guy, there's always 5-on-5 on the ice. There's never 3 guys on unless there's a penalty.
Yeah, but no, what I'm trying to get at is I know they're on the ice, but they're not always involved in the play.
Guy,
No, I think.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Alessandro.
No, I think that's the whole key to it. It's 3-on-3 because they want to make it more exciting. They know they're going to get people that watch it that probably don't really watch hockey, so they want it to look fast paced. They want there to be goals. They want there to be pretty plays. They want guys like Jordan Kyrou or Jack Hughes to be flying around, passing crazy passes, doing crazy digs because they got all the time in the world, all the space in the world. Is it like going to a regular game? No, not really, because you're not watching 3-on-3 for 10 minutes. You're lucky to get overtime in a regular game. It's not every night that you see overtime.
Yeah.
So, but I get why they do it. But is
you
it
look at how
real?
many
Is it
games do
realistic?
go into
No, not
overtime.
really.
Look
A
at how
lot,
many
but
games do go
yeah.
into overtime.
A lot. And I think that's what makes overtime that exciting because you don't always see it. You know what I mean? That's why your heart is. I'm a season ticket holder. I go to every game. I love Devils, win or loss. Overtime, I hate them. I'm like ready to leave because I'm about to have a heart attack sitting in my seat. I just hate it. It's 3-on-3. My heart's about to burst out. You know what I mean? I'm like biting all my fingernails off. But that's because it also doesn't happen every game, at least for one team. You might get one overtime game a night on average, but throughout the NHL. But you're
for still
one
getting.
team,
I'd say, and I don't know the number off the top of my head. I say you're still getting close to. I'd say 20% of the league's games going to overtime.
It might be about that, honestly.
Right?
Yeah, I might be about that. I mean, because you're almost catching like one a night throughout every game in NHL, and if not, one night you might catch 2 that might make up for it. So it could be about that. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the number. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah. So for me, that's kind of what I'm looking at there. Oh, I have not seen McGongle in a long time, man. McGongle, I was just in St. Louis, man, and you missed me, buddy. At least I think that's McGongle. I'm not 100% sure. Where we at here? No, so I just want to see them. I want to see more players on the ice. I want to see. I don't mind the 3-on-3 format, but I want to see more than 12 guys on the bench. I want to see a 15 to 20 man bench, just like you would regularly have.
Yeah.
On a 3-on-3 tournament.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'd like to see the more players make it. And I'm not really all for the whole every player gets a guy, because that guy from the Flyers, Hayes, has. What is his name? I forget his first name, but he has no business being in an All-Star game. For someone to watch hockey and to come on and tell me that Kevin Hayes, that either Robert Thomas or Jordan Kyrou, either one of those two, or Jack Hughes or Jesper Bratt didn't make the All-Star game because of Kevin Hayes. Yeah, they're like, come on, man. Are you kidding me?
Thomas and Kyrou didn't make the All-Star game because of Tarasenko.
Right, but he's injured, so someone's going to fill in.
But he should be back by that point.
My point is that, and they also had almost no chance of making the game, not because of Tarasenko, but because every team is getting a player going to the game. Like, Hayes has no business being in the All-Star game over any of those players I named. The players I named are all way better players than him. As far as that All-Star caliber, like, come on, man. So I get it. Every team every fan base wants to see someone represent their team. I get it. But I don't know.
Well, here's the thing that got
everybody gets a trophy.
Of the 32 players, 4 goalies, which makes sense. You got to have one goalie from
of course,
each.
Yeah.
But 4 defensemen. That's it. 4 defensemen,
I'm not surprised by that, though.
right? The 4 defensemen, and they're both in the West. No defenseman in the East made the All-Star game yet. You have
Really?
Seth Jones, Cale Makar, Josh Morrissey from Winnipeg, and
Wow.
Eric Carlson from San Jose. That's it. Those are the
Wow.
only defensemen. The Atlantic Division and the Metropolitan Division are all sending forwards at the moment.
So the Atlantic and Metro basically are up to the voting at this point.
Well, yeah,
Right?
the voting is going to have to put defensemen. But see, the voting.
It's going to have to. It's going to have to be all.
Well, no, actually, the voting, they could end up having no defensemen in the game.
And is that the NHL game? No.
Yeah, no,
not.
absolutely not. That's ridiculous. So who's going to take the hardest shot? Jack Hughes? No. Are you kidding me?
Right?
You know what I mean? Or would you rather have John Carlson? I'd rather have John Carlson all day. Like, are you kidding me? The hardest shot, yeah, or anything like that. And yeah, it's not real hockey. I mean, if you're doing that.
Lance, this is a question for you as a goalie. When players ran you intentionally, what did you and the team do?
Well, if they were still on me, I beat the crap out of them and pushed them off of me. If they got up and left, I made sure that I remembered their number on the back of their jersey, and somebody would either give them a good check into the boards, or the next time they got in front of me, they got the stick to the back of their knee 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Roman Josi did not make the.
No, I didn't think he did.
No, he didn't. Soros got it for Nashville.
Yeah.
Josi didn't make it.
That's understandable, but that's also a little far-fetched
So
at the same time. I mean,
No, yeah, I'm reading the names here, so I didn't forget Roman Josi. He didn't make it. Let's see. Guy thinks Kairu's the fastest skater in the league, so now I know who this is. At the moment, he holds the title of the fastest skater in the NHL.
Yep, I'd have to say so myself.
Right? Until someone else takes that title.
Yeah.
I get it. McDavid slipped, but you know what? That was McDavid's chance. Kairu didn't.
It's either one. It's either one of them at the moment.
Yeah, and the thing about
Kairu holds the title.
Yeah, the thing about Bennington is those refs are watching him now. He's got to be careful what he does because of his reputation. He can't, if the refs aren't watching, he can take his stick and hit him in the side of or back of the leg there, or he can push him out with his stick or push on him. But if he does too much, he's going to get called for something, and he's got to be very careful. This is why you need an enforcer in the game. I'm going to tell you right now, if enforcers were still big in the league and Tony Twist was on the Blues, Jordan Binnington would not have been ran by Kadri because he would have had his butt kicked.
Hey, Alexander, I got to ask you a question about something that happened in last night's game now that it kind of bounces on me. That penalty that made it the 5-on-3.
Yeah.
What did you think of that? Now, I know you're from the Devils. I know you're from the Devils. I forget. What was the call on that? That was a slash.
Is that when that guy's stick went flying too, right?
But you can watch him on the replay.
I was going to say, I didn't watch the replay. Yeah. All I remember being in the stadium was just seeing the stick go flying. That's like the one thing that caught my attention. But
his stick was thrown. You can see him as soon as the stick comes over, him drop his arms, open his hands, and throw the stick, and then he does one of these numbers, where he throws his hands back up like, "Hey, look what happened!" As soon as a player does that, to me, this is my issue with the NHL. They've said that they're going to chomp down on this embellishment, yet they haven't. That was pure embellishment last night. If you're going to call the slash, you've got to call the embellishment. Right?
Yeah, that's kind of rough.
Right? That was an issue for me because I'm seeing a lot of this. The officials in this league have really got to get things down to a lot better, and they've got to see. I really think that on certain plays like that, on certain things, that they should be allowed to have. This is why I think there should be a 5th official at each game that's up in the press box with the monitors, like the announcer monitors, all of that. Because when that penalty gets called, okay, you call that penalty, absolutely. But that guy up in the box can see the player throw the stick down and say, okay, but there's also embellishment here. Call embellishment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think there should, and he can buzz down right away and say, hey, you got to do this. You know what? They watch in Toronto, but they will never call a penalty in Toronto. You need a guy in the arena, feeling the emotion of what happens. Because on TV, even on TV, I don't feel the emotion of what's going on. I'm not in that arena. But in an arena, you feel the emotion of what's going on. You could honestly see this guy drop the stick. Drop the stick, throw his hands up, and that guy could have, buzzed down to the refs and say, hey, that was also embellishment. Call it both ways. Right?
Yeah.
Or the other one, the Kel McCarry incident where he come back and said, no, I didn't get tripped, I slipped. Right? Well,
Right.
Kel McCarr wouldn't have to worry about that and then getting the heat for it that he did, which really surprised the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Because the official up there, now I've seen guys before where a trip gets called and then they look back at it and they go, oops, no, the guy actually lost his edge and it wasn't a trip, and make the penalty go away. Well, I thought you weren't allowed to do that, but apparently it happens.
That happens all the time.
Right?
I mean,
So,
let's be real.
To me, that's why I think you need that fifth official, that video official that has
I think penalties should be like that, because
Right?
I only watched that in the stadium.
Yeah.
That slash, and the only thing that caught my attention was the stick going whatever, and I was like, okay, it had to be a slash, but I really wasn't watching the play hard enough to see.
Yeah.
Now I will say, you get like your fans that are booing like calls on the Devils, like the Dougie Hamilton high sticking. I saw that clear as day. Like, that's a blatant high stick. I hit him right in the mouth with the shaft of his stick. I mean, could have been, but
I guess during that game there was a goaltender interference that didn't get called.
yes, that was. I thought they were actually. I remember that. I thought that they were going to actually call that goalie interference. And I forget what player. What's up, man? How you doing?
Still safe.
The bathroom still fucked up? No worries. Sorry, boys, I'm at the rink.
Yeah, no, you're good, man. You're good. I love the smell of an ice rink, man. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing better than that.
Nothing like a nice little hometown rink. But yeah, I do remember that play though. I just forget what Devils player it was, but I thought they were going to call it.
Here's the thing, James. So 4 on the ice can't do it. What's the point? Remember when there were only 3? You know what? The guys on the ice are doing the best job they can, and I get that. And you're not always going to be in the right position. There are things that the TV camera picks up. In fact, this is the reason that there's 4 on the ice, because there were so many things that the TV camera was picking up that was being missed.
Well, also, it's like we saw it the other day, Guy, at the Wild Blues game. The penalty was called, and the ref was standing right by where the penalty occurred, and he didn't call it. The guy at center ice called it. Now you tell me what's up with that. That's ridiculous.
Yep. Absolutely, right? No, that's what I'm trying to get at. That's why I think that.
I think it's a good idea, Guy, but Toronto loves to be in charge.
And I get that. Sorry, but I had to mute you there.
I'm sorry.
No. That was giving me a headache.
I'm sorry.
I just think that having a fifth official, a video official, in this is another good one. There's 2 referees and 2 linesmen. There's certain penalties that get called by linesmen, and ones that actually the linesman can't call a penalty, but they can.
I think not technically.
No, they technically cannot call a penalty, but what they can do is if something happens, they can, like a hand pass, they can say whether or not they saw it.
Yeah.
Right? Like if there's a questionable slash, like You know, they're arguing. A linesman can come over and say, "Yes, I saw it, and I thought it was a slash."
Yeah,
So
talking
that's
over with the refs
thing
and
there.
all that. Yeah, I have to agree with you though. I would like to see like one more guy, at least
Say
doing
again?
I said I have to agree with you though. I'd like to see like one more guy doing like I don't know, like some kind of video
I just want to
of
see. I
penalties
want to
called
see a guy.
because
Now
you
look,
can't challenge the penalties, correct? Right?
yeah, you
Coach can't
cannot,
challenge
and
that.
that's
Right.
actually an issue for me.
That's an
Right?
issue
I
for me
think you
too because
should be
how
able
many
to
bad
challenge
calls
some
do you get?
penalties.
Yeah,
Right?
I think
I
so too.
lost Lance for a second. I think you
think
should be able to challenge certain, like goaltender interference. You should be able to challenge that, not as for a goal, but as a
Yeah.
penalty.
Yeah, but
Right?
here's my thing with that too. I don't really like where the NHL, and I hate to switch it up, but I don't like where the NHL is really going with the goaltender interference. And not just the game. I know you're going to say, oh, about the game, the Maple Leafs. Not that game. It just, I've seen a lot of goaltender interference calls this year
Yeah.
that seem really questionable to me, and from a
Well,
lot of teams. And I think I don't know, it's very contradicting because more people have been, the game's been growing because hockey, they're just scoring more. They're scoring more goals, they're faster paced games, and when you're taking goals off the board, it's really not helping you in that category.
okay. Well, hey,
And
Lance, thanks for coming on tonight.
Mhm.
Greatly appreciate it. I know Alexander's got to go here. Hey, McGongle, man, I miss you, bud. You got to come back to the show more often. You know, get back here, McGongle. We really miss you, bud.
hey, listen, I got to go too, guy. I got to get dressed.
No problem, man. Have a
Bye.
great night. Enjoy.
Yo,
We'll
let
talk
me-
to you later. Hey,
Yeah.
you don't have to just come on for Devils games. Anytime you want to
Dude,
come
I'll
on
come
and talk
on.
any hockey.
I'll come on for a Blues game, man. I'll watch it with you, bro.
Oh, no problem,
Just
man.
let me know.
Okay,
Don't
we'll
make
see
me.
you, bud.
Don't listen.
Yep.
Don't threaten me with a good time, man. Don't make me a Blues fan too. I'll double
I've
dutch
done
over
that.
here,
I've
brother.
done from other teams into Blues
Hey,
fans.
bro, I only watched that Toronto and Blues game because of you. If it wasn't for you, I would never watched it, bro. And I followed along with it because I was like, I got to give this guy my comments. Like, I'm gonna actually watch the game. So,
Yeah, well, I'm a passionate fan, and that's just what it is.
Yeah,
So thank you so much,
Yeah,
Alexander. Have a great night, my friend.
you too, brother. I'll talk to you.
Okay, talk to you later, bud. So it's just me. I'll go a little bit longer. I'm still enjoying this. Jason goes, bow chicka wow wow. Thank you. Yeah, McGongle, I when I was in St. Louis, man, I didn't know if you were mad at me or something. I wanted to get together with you again because we had a good time when I was there in for my birthday, for my 50th birthday, man. And you're a good friend and you've been a good friend. So welcome back. I miss you, man. I miss you. How are we doing tonight? We're doing good tonight. We now I have changed how I'm posting the show now, so I know my likes are going to go down for a bit. But we had Jason Nichols, Erickson Krieger, Richard Henry Doolittle, John Hefner, Jose Figueres, and Jeremy Brander put some likes up. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I apologize to Ashley. I apologize for her not being on. This was my fault. I did something that she asked me not to do. And I shouldn't have done it, but I was upset and I did it anyways. And I get her point. I'm sorry, Ashley, that was on me. I will try and be better. I did not mean to disrespect you. And I mean that in the best way possible. I did not mean that on you. I meant it to somebody else. I just felt like I was tired of being on the defensive. So I went on the offensive and that was wrong of me. But with a lot of the stuff that's been going on with me, it's my point is why am I on the defensive so much? I'm the one that got hurt, yet I'm the one that's got to defend myself. I'm the one that had one 2-minute incident basically destroy my life the past year. Why shouldn't I defend myself? Right? I defended it once and won. I would have defended it the second time, but they did something underhanded to prevent me from defending myself. So that's just the way it is. Guys, I had a good night tonight, man. Good show. Now look, the show is changing a little bit and I'm trying to do things to get better and I'm taking all your advice. I'm listening to it all. I really am. There are things that I will do, things that I won't. One thing right now that a couple people have asked me, you told me about just doing it on game nights. And the problem with just doing it on game nights is that makes this just about a Blues. And I don't want this. I really do want this to be the hockey fan report not just the Blues fans. I want hockey fans like Alessandro from the Devils to get excited and become on the show, not just when he plays the Blues. That's my goal. Now, I know others you love when I have other fans, and I try it. I put it out there consistently. A lot of these guys that do this stuff don't want to come on camera, or they don't want to come on the show, or whatever. So I try. I will take guests left, right, and center. But it's got to, and again, because of what happened to the show, you got to remember what happened to the show a couple of months ago. I invited somebody on this show, and then they took that invitation and used it to play for their own practical joke, and really, really affected me in a negative way. So I got to be back. I got to be careful. I got to watch what I'm doing. I know Alessandro from my fantasy league. That's where I know him from. That's why I invited him. So yeah, I have to be careful. I have to be careful, and that's all there is to it. You know, and again, yeah, I was, Ryan Green. I have to. Right? Where are we at right now? Let me see if I can pull up the scores. So let's check out the scores for tonight. We have the Predators beating the Capitals 3-2. The Panthers beat the Red Wings 3-2. Red Wings having a very nice season, 16-13-7. I think they're just on the outs of a playoff spot. I got to look at that a little more. The Lightning are losing to the Jets 3-2 with about 14 to go in the third. The Blackhawks in the Connor Bedard Bowl are leading 1-0 at the end of two. I'd be surprised if they didn't tell their goalie let some in. And I'm sure that if they did that, the Coyotes would do the same thing. The Flames are up 3-1 over the Islanders at 15:55 to go in the second. And at puck drop, the Sharks and the Ducks are at 0. Look, thank you all. I'll make mistakes. I'll do things wrong. I'll say things you may not like. I am working on starting a second channel and a second TikTok that is just mental health, that will separate the hockey, my hockey from my personal life. I will try and do that. I will try and focus extremely on hockey. I will try. I'm looking for somewhere trying to find a webmaster who wants to work with me on a basis to get my website back up and running. After I lost everything because of somebody, I'm trying to restart everything. I've allowed things to affect me. I'm trying to focus on me and do those things. It's not easy. I will tell you that. You need to understand that. It's not an easy thing to do, but I'm going to try it. And I'll work from there. Right? People watch, they watch. They don't. Right? The reason I'm doing this in just one spot now, it's going to help me consolidate views. It might be a little hard right now with certain views not showing up because people can't find it, are having trouble finding it. I will let them keep knowing. Hopefully tomorrow with the game, because we got two games tomorrow and Sunday at I want to say they're 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, so 2 p.m. our time games. That should help alleviate some of this problem to where people are going to get it. If you watch me on Facebook, it is now going to be from the Blue Note Fan Report page. Please like that page. Please, go on there and see if there's a way that you can ask for notifications from that page. I think there is. I just don't know how. I got to look that up. So you can, and if I can figure it out, I'll show you how to do it. I'll show you how to put the notifications out there. There's some pages out there that got lots and lots of viewers. Let's see what we can do. Let's see, lots and lots of followers. Let's see what we can do. So, hey, everybody, this is Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, telling you thank you. I love each and every one of you. I respect each and every one of you. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to piss you off. It's going to happen. I ask for your forgiveness ahead of time, and we'll move on. Ashley, please forgive me. I'm very sorry for what I did. I truly, honestly mean that. I am very sorry. And everyone have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Hawaii Blues fan. We're bleeding blue with you. Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues!
What are you wearing?
A Canadian tuxedo. And I'm a hockey player. Let's go Blues!